And it's time for another weekly AI news roundup. For those of you that are new here and haven't seen what I do, this is a weekly roundup. This script has been written by AI based on all of the content that I've consumed in the last week around AI, news and updates and products. I'm doing this so I can try and stay on top of the wave as it's rolling in this AI world, and it's very hard. So what I do is I try and keep up with as much as I can, share this content with my team so then they can get some news and updates, because I don't expect everyone else to do this. And because I'm sharing with the team, I might as well share it with everyone on the internet. This week we have 28 different pieces of content I watched, the total of around 8 hours. So let's go in. I haven't read this before, so we're reading this for the first time as I have my coffee. Hey everyone, welcome back to the weekly roundup. This week was packed with groundbreaking advances, fresh AI tools, bold policy moves, and real-world success stories. From jaw-dropping model breakthroughs to enterprise case studies that saved hundreds of thousands of hours. I've been diving into everything from AI models, winning math Olympics and coding contests, to futuristic autonomous agents streamlining our work lives, and even policy blueprints to outpace global competitors. Breakthroughs in AI model performance. I kicked off the week exploring some astonishing technical achievements. Experimental models from OpenAI and Gemini have now achieved a gold medal level performance at the International Math Olympiad, proving that AI isn't just about crunching numbers, but can truly reason under pressure. What was interesting about these models was it wasn't only that they were able to get gold level performance. They weren't niche models, they were general models that were excelling at a very specific task. So this will be interesting to see that it's how far along these generalized models have come to be able to compete with that. There's also a lot of buzz about AI models in the coding world. Alibaba's Qwen 3 coder has been introduced with a clever mixture of experts architecture. So what that means is there's many sub-agents and each one is specialized in a certain thing. And then there'll be like a controlling agent which can then farm out tasks to each specific one depending on what is needed. In a parallel story, experimental OpenAI O3 Alpha models showcased amazing coding skills at global competitions, even going head-to-head with human coders in a grueling 10-hour challenge. That model came second, and a human coder from Poland still came first, but we're ahead of where everyone thought the models would be based on those numbers. So by the next time this competition comes around, it will be the best coder in the world. This reinforces the bitter lesson that scalable end-to-end learning is reshaping what we thought was possible. And then there's this fascinating discussion on world models as a promising path toward AGI. A Harvard study even showed that while AI could perfectly predict orbital trajectories, it still struggled with the fundamental physics behind gravity, raising interesting questions on where our current LLMs have hit their limits. I'm not sure what to think about that one. So it could map trajectories of orbital bodies around planets and stars in the solar system. It didn't understand gravity. Gravity is a fundamental part of that. So if you give it the theory of gravity and the calculations, it will know what to do. But then if you take that away and let it try and come up with it on its own, I'm sure it'll get, I don't know if it'll actually get there, because it was the apple falling that triggered the thought, but it knows that happened, so it could get there and it could figure it out if it didn't know anything about it. I don't know if they're at the point where they're creating new theories yet. Autonomous agents and next-gen AI tools. Switching gears from model performance to how these innovations translate into concrete tools, autonomous agents are literally reshaping our digital workflows. Enterprise leaders are now looking at reliable AI agents that combine determinism, human oversight, and scalable workflows. I saw deep dives explaining platforms like Cloudflare's Agent SDK and demos of AI browsers like Perplexity's Comet that can unsubscribe your email, schedule your calendar events, or even order your groceries. So Perplexity's Comet, we talked about last week, that's the AI-enabled agent browser. It has access to everything you can do in your browser, so you can unsubscribe to emails and do all those sort of things. Cloudflare's Agent SDK is a tool they provide that can leverage Cloudflare's infrastructure to then develop agents. These demos are not only highly impressive, but they paint a picture of what a more automated digital future may look like. So it'll be interesting to see how much further this goes. I might have to give the Perplexity Comet a go and see what an AI browser may look like. I need help probably organizing tabs sometimes, but I have separate windows for different projects that I'm working on, and I may have 100 tabs open. If it can help me with memory management, I can already see a huge benefit there, because at the moment there's a problem managing memory on those things for me. And if that wasn't enough, this week's news also touched on the explosion of AI search. With ChatGPT now processing billions of prompts daily and shifting browser habits, feels like AI is winning the race for our attention. I think Google reported that they were like 900 billion queries they've run, whereas only 450 or something back in May. So they've almost doubled in a couple months. So we're almost at 1 trillion queries they're processing. I don't know what the time period is in total. I think maybe in total. So it's really escalating, and the AI using browser tools, it then uses search anyway. So there's a lot of more AI searches happening than what people are doing, because people are going to the AI and asking it questions rather than asking it for opinions and getting it to find things. Enterprise adoption, policy, and organizational shifts. Moving into the realm of business strategy and policy, it's clear that companies and governments alike are ramping up the AI game. Two separate discussions on America's AI action plan break down how the US is planning to cut through red tape, build robust AI infrastructure, and even use open source models as a strategic asset to outpace China. So I'll listen to a couple of people talk about that US action plan for AI. A lot of it covers about the needs for more energy, because apparently the creation of energy in the US has sort of stagnated since the 70s. It hasn't really grown too much. In China, they can generate 3 times the amount of power. So we will need shitloads more power to keep up with the demands that AI will place on things. The other thing was to try and have the US models be what countries and governments use, or the US open source versions of models. So that way the Chinese models aren't used primarily by everyone. So then there's those standards and values in the code already. So don't take it from the Chinese model and what they do and how they decide to obfuscate information and hide things and restrict information from people, so it's more open. There's also an impressive case study from Norway's 1.8 trillion sovereign wealth fund by mandating AI integration. This was called Bank, I think. By using Anthropic's Claude in tandem with Snowflake, they managed to save over 213,000 work hours in a year. I can't fathom the amount of people that is and what they've been affected by. But what else did they do in that time that they saved? What did that extra 213,000 hours afford them to be able to do in that job as well? That's what I would like to know. In this one, the case study was talking about how the AI mandate was pushed from the top down, and it was forced upon everyone, because they said about 20% of people will never want to change. So you have to force them to change. So you make it, you train it, you have open information sessions, you keep bringing it into people, you have your champions, but then you force everyone to do it as part of the job. So then they end up having to do it. And then everyone gets the benefit because everyone's using the tools the right way. On the organizational front, I watched talks all about building modern AI teams. Dennis Linkov's session laid out how companies are combining domain experts with engineers, upskilling their workforce, and even reshaping roles with the rise of the AI architect. And in the startup world, Rahul Sunwalker of Julius AI shared his story of hitting 2 million users in 18 months by focusing sharply on solving daily problems. His takeaway was, don't solve a problem that someone's going to have once a year or once a month. Solve a problem that someone's going to have daily, because then they'll come back to your app every day. That little line about combining domain experts with engineers, I believe that's what everyone should be doing when they're developing software anyway, because you can't build software unless you have the domain experts involved, or you have enough information about the domain to be able to deliver something properly. You need to have them involved. That's why you have stakeholders. That's why you have Aerion, we have DevReady, and we involve people in the conversations. We get the right people in the rooms so we can have those conversations and actually get things moving forward. Otherwise, we don't know everything. It's impossible to build software that's going to be used by people in an industry when you don't know anything about it. You have to become aware, you have to help, you have to know what's going on. So there's a bit of difference there. I just assume that's the norm, but I guess it's not. Broader trends in AI and tech impact. Finally, zooming out to see the big picture, several themes emerged about AI societal impact. Beyond the technical and enterprise stories, there was a lively discussion around surveillance and privacy, fueled by the explosion of data center capacities and the promise of fusion energy. It's a conversation about balancing innovation and ethical considerations, how much personal freedom we are willing to trade for safety and productivity. So that's always something important to think about. It's how much flexibility or power do you give to the AI to be able to make decisions at some point which will affect society. Everything has to be for a net positive, otherwise we wouldn't do it. So if we're going to build all these new data centers and we're going to create all these new power generation systems, whether it's nuclear or wind or solar or coal or whatever it may be, what's the benefit to society for us to do that? Why should we invest money in that to make that happen? So if there's no benefit, why would we do it? So we have to keep that in mind every time we do something like this. Not to mention the fierce talent wars in the AI industry. As companies like Meta and Microsoft go head-to-head for top researchers and strategic corporate moves like Amazon's acquisition of an AI wearable startup, all of these point to a rapidly evolving landscape where technology, policy, and global competition intersect. Of course, the rumor mill is still buzzing with the speculations over GPT-5's launch. Apparently it's meant to be August. We're August at the start of this week, so the next 30 days we'll see GPT-5. What does GPT-5 mean? I don't know. It won't be a reasoning model, because that's what their O series is, unless they've combined something and it becomes in the one. I'm not sure, but be interested to see what GPT-5 means compared to the performance we've been getting out of these other models. All I know is you're going to see a big focus on its coding capability, because that's what everyone's pushing at the moment. There is also quirky yet intriguing updates like Stormtrooper vlogs and kid-friendly content from Baby Grok. So Baby Grok is a Elon Musk app for like a kid-friendly, child-friendly enabled AI on top of his virtual avatars that he released a week ago, which was adult-friendly. And then just people creating Stormtrooper videos, blogs, updates, little things, just showing off these tools and how they work. It's been an incredible week in AI and tech, from breakthroughs in model performance and autonomous agents that literally do your work, to strategic moves in both enterprise and policy circles that are setting the tone for the future. Whether you're a developer keeping an eye on model innovations, a business leader planning your next integration, or just a tech enthusiast intrigued by all these advances, there's no doubt that the pace of change is both exhilarating and a bit daunting. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week with more updates. So there's a lot there to unpack, bit of information as usual. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, any thoughts, any ideas, something you'd like me to do different in this. I'm just reading from an AI script, but it's helping me re-solidify what I've learned over the past week because I'm talking about and commenting. If you'd like something different, like me to try something new, please let me know. Always open to that. And then until next week, good luck staying up to date.